Good afternoon. This is John Tilford. I'm the Curator of Collections at Oglethorpe University Museum of Art. Welcome to Tuesdays at 2. This is a program where we try to bring a bit of the museum to all of you at home in the hopes that in the coming future we can welcome you all here in person to the museum. In the meantime, we encourage all of you to visit the museum website where you can see a virtual tour of this exhibition, Pax Tokugawa, which illustrates a large number of great treasures from our permanent collection of Japanese works of art ranging several centuries. This exhibition was organized in beloved memory of our dear friend, Professor Robert Steen, professor of Japanese languages, who passed away last year. Today, we're going to be talking briefly about one of the most well-known objects in the museum's permanent collection. We've exhibited this work numerous times over the past several years. It was donated by Ms. Carrie Lee Jacobs Henderson. It was given to her by her father, Dr. John Les Jacobs, who was a prominent Atlanta physician and also a remarkable collector of Japanese works of art. The object itself is seen here in the case beside me, this magnificent round dish dating to the late 1600s from Japan with wonderful polychrome enamel and underglaze cobalt decoration. It's an extraordinarily rare example of early Japanese porcelain. The Japanese were among the last of the Asian countries to discover the secret formula or recipe for the creation of porcelain. This came about, we think, around the year 1616. It was in that year that Lord Nabeshima brought back a Korean potter by the name of Ri Sanpei to his province in Japan as a prisoner of war. Now, Lord Nabeshima brought Risanpei back to Japan because Nabeshima was obsessed, like many people in the world at that time, with the production of porcelain. Porcelain was considered more valuable than gold. And after a few fits and starts, Risanpei discovered large kaolin clay deposits outside of the city of Arita. And once he applied the kaolin clay to the recipe for the porcelain production, he was successful in creating true porcelain or hard paste porcelain, which can be fired at an extremely high temperature, which results in this very rich, lustrous white color of porcelain that you see here on the dish in the center. The dish, again, we think was made around 1690. It's also significant not only because of this early type of Japanese porcelain, but it illustrates the mastery of Kakiemon I, who was, we believe, the first Japanese artisan to also unlock the secret of overglaze enamel decoration. So when you look at the dish, you actually see quite rich, vibrant colors of red, yellow, and green on top of the underglaze cobalt blue decoration, which meant this object had to be fired multiple times in the kiln to create this masterful result. We believe the dish is part of a larger set, possibly 6 pieces of identical design. There is another example of this type at the Nelson Atkins Museum in Kansas City, Missouri. The other four or so examples are missing. If you should happen to find these in your attic, do not call the Antiques Roadshow. Call Oglethorpe University Museum of Art. We'll be happy to be in touch with you. But again, the dish was made around the late 17th century, and it was in the 17th century that European powers began to really desire a large amount of porcelain for their consumption in Europe. And so at first, the Portuguese established a trading colony with the Japanese at Deshima Island, which was a man-made island off the coast of Japan, where the Japanese kept the foreign traders at arm's length from their indigenous population. The problem was that the Portuguese wanted to convert the Japanese to Christianity, and this infuriated the Japanese emperor, so he expelled the Portuguese. The Dutch then presented themselves and informed the emperor they had no interest in religious conversion, they simply wanted to make money and a lot of it. And so the Dutch began to trade from Deshima Island in the 17th century, and they would literally send shiploads of porcelain back to Europe. And the cargo was so precious that they simply wouldn't sell the cargo to traders or shopkeepers or merchants. They would actually sell these at public auction. And as a result, drive up the price. And so the crown heads of Europe would actually send delegations and their agents to these auctions to try to outbid one another. Now, by the 1720s, an individual by the name of Augustus the Strong, who was the king of Poland and the elector of Saxony, had artisans working in what is now considered the Meissen factory. And these individuals were the first in Europe to discover the secret formula for creating hard paste porcelain. And so around 1720, they really began to produce wonderful examples that copied Chinese and Japanese porcelain that Augustus the Strong had been amassing in his Japanese palace. So if you see the tea bowl on the top of this exhibition installation, it's very similar in style and design to the dish which Carrie Lee kindly donated to us. The tea bowl, again, was also made, we think, around 1790. And we know that this tea bowl, or one like it, was in the collection of Augustus the Strong, because in 1720, 1725, thereabouts, Meissen produced an almost exact copy of this tea bowl. But what you're looking at in the exhibition is the original Japanese prototype. It's quite rare. And we're very pleased to say that it's been offered to Oglethorpe University Museum as a promised gift in honor of Miss Carrie Lee Jacobs Henderson for her continued generosity to Oglethorpe. So Carrie Lee, if you're watching, I hope this news receives you with great intent and great joy. And thank you again for your birthday wishes. So tune in next time, same place, same time, Tuesday at 2, where my colleague Elizabeth Peterson will be speaking from Lupton Hall about a wonderful and exciting new exhibition, satellite exhibition space, where we're staging some of our wonderful examples of Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. Thank you.